Breaking news today: Russian terrorism and ignorance in Britain. A good first step was taken on September 16 when the United Kingdom officially designated the Wagner Group as a terrorist organization. However, as the Russian state continues its onslaughts in Ukraine and more voices point to its links to the Hamas attack on Israel, one must wonder why the United Kingdom has not yet designated Russia as a terrorist state. It took over a year and numerous speeches and evidence submissions at the Houses of Parliament to officially label Wagner a terrorist organization. These speeches not only exposed the terrorist actions of the organization, but also revealed the deep ties that bound it to the Russian government. The Russian state has sometimes directed, facilitated, and supported its military operations, notably in Libya and Ukraine, according to the July 2023 report by the UK Foreign Affairs Committee on Wagner. The Russian government has been its guiding force. The Wagner PMC has been primarily state-funded, and that the Russian government facilitated its activities directly, according to the same Foreign Affairs Committee report, even though the government has yet to address the report, and may never do so given the PMC's prescription, the failure to label the funders, supporters, facilitators, and guiding hand of a terrorist group as a terrorist entity borders on criminality. During a speech in the House of Lords on July 11, Admiral Lord West of Spithead, a former parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Security and Counter-Terrorism, said, "There is no doubt that the Wagner Group is state-funded and is a proxy of the Russian government." In addition, the government can ignore the opposition party member's statement because Home Secretary Sala Braverman admitted in a statement on the prescription issued on September 6 that the group was a tool of the Kremlin and its fate was in Putin's hands. According to Braverman, Wagner is a violent and destructive organization that has served as a military tool of Vladimir Putin's Russia abroad. Wagner's ongoing destabilizing activities only continue to serve the political goals of the Kremlin, while Putin's regime decides what to do with the monster it created. While the UK government acknowledges that Wagner is a terrorist organization, it still refuses to make the final admission that those who run, control, fund, and benefit from the activities of terrorists are themselves terrorists, despite overwhelming evidence linking the group directly to the Kremlin. There are two possible explanations for the British government's inaction. The first is the effect the exclusion of Russia will have on ordinary Russians who may not back the Kremlin, while the second is a more sinister and calculated choice based on the Conservative Party's long-standing ties to Russian funding and the UK's dependence on Russian financial resources. One thing can be said with absolute certainty: Russians back the killing of Ukrainians by Wagner and the army alike. On November 1, 2022, Russian dissident and former political prisoner Mikhail Khodorkovsky addressed the Foreign Affairs Committee, saying, "Today, according to the surveys being conducted by different social survey companies, they are not that independent. About 90% of the population support the existence of the Wagner Group."